We need to get home in 2 days.
Told everybody, I said, thank God we didn't fly. The weight of all those books.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to a bookish video from the Mouse Diva.
Moving pictures. Hello there, moving picture.
What's up, Dad?
I've been all around the world. Every city, every place. Always been a restless girl.
Hi. I am on vacation in Newport, Rhode Island. This has been on my to-go-to list for a very long time. I'm a huge Biltmore Vanderbilt fan. If you watch my family channel, Life's a Whirlwind, you already know that. So we have finally made it up to Rhode Island. We're in Newport, Rhode Island. We're staying 7 nights. Actually, tomorrow we check out. And we're headed back to North Carolina. We'll make a stop in Virginia, stay at an Airbnb on the way, because it is a very long drive. As you can see, I may have done some book shopping. Thank goodness we're not flying, because this is a lot of weight. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have to show you the view out my window right now. Do y'all see all the little, I don't know what you call those. They're like these tiny little sailboats with one person in them. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. I hope you watch my family channel, Life's a Whirlwind, because that is how you're going to see all of these Rhode Island vlogs that I will be posting. Mr. Mouse Diva even bought 2 books, which is like unheard of because it takes him so long to get through books. So actually, let me show you his 2 real quick. So, no, okay. So the first one he bought at the Elms, one of the Newport Mansions. And it is Newport, A Concise History, which is really ironic because I had saw this book at the Breakers and I almost bought it, but I had so many books in my hand. It was the first house that we went to. We still had Marble House and the Elms to go to. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know how many other books I'm gonna buy. So let me like stop where I'm at. So he ended up buying this later at the Elms. I'm really glad he bought it. I was so shocked that he bought a history book, but I will be reading this book also. The other book he purchased was 3 Sheets to the Wind, the nautical origins of everyday expressions. This is actually really interesting. He saw this at one of the museums. The museum was closed, but the gift shop was open. And it's just really neat because it tells you where some of just slogans, terms that we hear nowadays, where they came from. There was a couple that we use all the time and you never really think that it has a nautical background, but then it makes sense when you think of actually where it came from. For example, as the crow flies. Now, okay, I knew what a crow's nest was, obviously, but listen to this. When lost in coastal waters, sailors shimmied up the ship's mast and released a crow from a cage. The crow flew straight toward the nearest shore. The lookout platform at the top of the mast was called the crow's nest. The expressions "as the crow flies" implies the most direct route. Now, that, like, I had no idea was a coastal term, but things like the coast is clear, never thought of that being a coastal like term, even though you're saying the coast is clear, but it is. So very, very interesting. So kudos for Mr. Mouse Diva for buying some books. So I'm going to try and be like, okay, these are what books I got from this, what books I got from that, but I may not do that great a job, but we'll see. So yesterday at Charter Books here in Newport, finally got to go to that independent bookstore. I bought 2 books, and one of those is Garden Cemeteries of New England. Now, I am a huge cemetery explorer. If you watch my family channel, you know that. I have a series called Stories Within the Stones, and I've filmed 3. I have filmed 3 episodes while here. That's the only, I wish I had time to do more, but we don't. And so, but this one is, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this one before. Wonderful pictures. Just a very thick, informative book that I am so excited to read. And the other one I got, was Rhode Island Curiosities. I love books with oddities, curiosities, good things for road trips, information about little things that I might want to stop at. So those were the 2 that I got at a Charter bookstore. And let's see, Newport first. Yeah, I don't remember where I got this from. I think I actually got it from the Breakers, to tell you the truth. So I love the History Press books. I'm a history buff, obviously, you know that. So the city of First, Newport's been a city of innovation since its beginning nearly 4 centuries ago. Some of the claims on a national level are true, while some have been greatly distorted over the years. The free-thinking citizens include the first to defeat a British squadron and the author of the first written constitution guaranteeing the rights to religious freedom in world history. And then it just goes on and on. I promise you, these are not all history books. For example, the Gilded Newport Mystery Series by Alyssa Maxwell. So every single mansion in their gift shops have this series. This was the only one that they had that hardback. I love hardbacks. So the first one to come out, I believe, was the Breakers. And when I read the synopsis, I thought, I think I've read this book. But I know I hadn't read the rest. So I went ahead and got The Murder of the Elms at the Elms Mansion, just because it was the only hardback. And they have one for every single mansion here, basically. Big mansions that you can tour. There's a whole series. I'm hoping I can find some hardbacks. I did glance on Amazon, and actually Amazon only had this one in hardback. So I'm wondering, is this the only one of the series that came out in hardback? New England House Museums. Where did I get this? I got this at one of the Newport Mansions. Don't know which one. For $21.95, and this just goes through all, oh my god, I love the smell of books. This just goes through all the mansions throughout the New England states. Oh my gosh, the Paul Revere house, that's in Boston, Massachusetts, obviously. And you know, some of these I will be able to get through throughout my lifetime, and some of these I will not. Normally I do not write in my books, but I'm probably in pencil going to write whenever I visit one. I am probably going to write when I visited it. So this will be, you know, this is just going to be one of these that I will read periodically, you know, pick it up, read about a couple houses, and you know, a month later pick it up and read about a couple. Oh, The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter. Oh, Newport Historical Society Museum. That is where Tom got this book, and this is where I got this book. So the museum was closed, but I got this. So I had read, now this is funny, I had read about her in one of the other books that I'd gotten earlier in the trip. I didn't know anything about her. So when I saw this book later at the museum bookstore, at the gift shop, I was like, okay, I have to have it. So this is true story. The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter is an absorbing, painstakingly researched story of Ida Lewis and the fearless rescues she made at Lime Rock Lighthouse in Newport, Rhode Island. Born in 1842, Ida began tending the light at age 15. Now, I was a little worried about getting this book because when you have a typo on the back cover, it kind of worries me. So when her father died in 1872, Ida's mother assumed the role of the lighthouse keeper, but Ida continued to do the work. Even though her mother was supposed to be doing it, Ida did it. So she saved at least 18 lives during her 40 years of tending to that lighthouse. And they ended up renaming the Lime Rock Lighthouse to the Ida Lewis Lighthouse. In 1928, all but a portion of Lime Rock used for the light tower was sold to a yachtsman who preserved the historic house and established the Ida Lewis Yacht Club. In 1995, a Coast Guard buoy, tender was named for her. Another book I got there at the Historical Society was Over My Dead Body. So they had this like whole shelf of just like cemetery stuff. It wasn't a lot, but got my attention for sure. Unearthing the Hidden History of America's Cemeteries. So again, guys, I do a lot of research with cemeteries, their stories, their architecture, their folklore, their reasoning. It all interests me. I'm fascinated by that. And so any book I can find on cemeteries, I am all about it. I mean, think about it. Cemeteries have inspired, you know, and motivated some of the greatest poets and authors. Emerson, Whitman, Dickinson, and, you know, the architecture in the cemeteries. For example, Island Cemetery that I've just filmed a vlog on today. Richard Morse Hunt, famous architect for the Biltmore House, the Marble House, the Breakers. He did some of the monuments and tombstones in Island Museum. Well, makes sense because he did the Vanderbilt Mausoleum in Staten Island too. So great architects have their touch.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And then the other one I got there was Stones and Bones of New England, a guide to unusual, historic, and otherwise notable cemeteries. I wonder how many cemeteries that I'm going to like be able to get to on next year's visit. So many. You know, Stones and Bones of New England tells the tales of nearly 100 of the most intriguing burial grounds. Which gets me thinking, if you live in an area with a very interesting cemetery, please comment below and let me know. Like, oh my gosh, like Nashville, Tennessee has a cemetery with a grotto in it. Oh yes, I've been there twice. Hey, oh, Sergeant's Women. So I bought this, I believe, at the Breakers. 4 Lives Behind the Canvas. So John Singer Sargent was a very highly sought after portrait painter in the Gilded Age. And there is some, like one of his paintings caused a lot of controversy, at least one of them that I know of. And so anything to do with John Singer Sargent, I'm curious about, just because of the, I guess, you know what, I guess I'm just really curious about the Gilded Age. I mean, it was that Industrial Revolution where people just, you know, the what do they call them? The robber barons. You know, people lived in a time where money was like your life. It was like you had to prove yourself worthy, like to show worth of your existence was to show how much money you had. And now some people, like George Vanderbilt, yes, he spent a lot of money on Biltmore, but he actually did a lot of good. He built a church, a hospital. He sent people that couldn't read to school. There was, oh my God, you know, his wife Edith, she had sympathy for widows and widowers, and they would give jobs to widows with, you know, 8 kids and give them a place to live. Where back in that time, that was unheard of. People wouldn't hire a widow with kids underfoot. Okay, I'm getting up. That's a whole different, that could be a whole different vlog. But anyway, John Singer Sargent, Richard Morris Hunt, the house architect, Carl Bitter, he was a sculptor. Just those, and of course, Vanderbilt. Any of those people I'm just really interested in. And let's see, a guide to historic burial grounds in Newport. This also came from the Breakers. Oh my gosh, Stories Behind the Stones. That is almost the name of my vlog series. It's called Within the Stones, Stories Within the Stones. So while now known as America's summer playground, Newport was at one time the nation's 5th largest seaport, containing a diverse population that is reflected on its burial sites. Oh, by the way, took 2 cemetery tours while we were here, which was very exciting because I had never taken a cemetery tour. I know y'all are like, what? No, there's no way. I did take one at home, but when we went, it wasn't a cemetery tour. We sat inside the church and they told us about the cemetery instead of taking us through. Anyway, but that was fine. Still learned a lot. I did take a course, not a course, but took a Saturday, few hours. My sister and I signed up and went and learned how to clean and reset tombstones. So that was very burials include those for William Ellery, who signed the Declaration of Independence, Richard Morris Hunt. It is also home to John Stevens, a noted gravestone carver who led 6 generations of his family to create exquisite stones throughout the city. I wish I would have had this book before we came, but that was the whole point of me getting a lot of these books, is that when we come back next year, I will have all this knowledge, know exactly where to go and what to talk about. Okay. Oh, Lost Newport also came from the Breakers. So you can tell the Breakers was the first house we visited. I might have already said that, so that's where I bought most of the books. Featuring more than 190 vintage views of cottages built from the early 19th century to the early 20th century, Lost Newport highlights 59 summer homes now lost. So yeah, it's really sad. The amount of houses, mansions that have been torn down in Newport is crazy. When you think of all that architecture, the memories, oh my gosh. But here's a crazy thing, is that the reason a lot of them were torn down is, one, yeah, they did come, you know, they weren't kept up, but the houses deemed to be just out of date, I guess you could say, not, of course, not modern. And that's why some of them were like, let's just knock it down. Oh my gosh, thank goodness for the Newport Historical Society, Preservation Society, saving a lot of these houses. And a lot of, it's wild, a lot of the mansions here, you know, they stayed in them no more than 2 months out of the year. It's crazy to think about it. Like Marble House, Alva Vanderbilt, I think theirs was 6 weeks, no more than 8. I think theirs was 6 weeks out of the year they actually stayed at the house. All right. Oh, okay, so this is just a journal, but I thought it was absolutely adorable. I love the graphics on this, and I am always writing in journals. So that was picked up at the Breakers also. Ooh, this might have been Marble House that I grabbed this. A Passion for Preservation. Catherine Warren and Shaping Modern Newport. Now, she was known for her sense of humor. I think once she attended like a costume party and she dressed like her costume was seashells, bananas, and orange peels or something. She also, and I don't know if they talk about this in the book or not, but she also was like an interior designer, and she actually helped, she was on the team that helped Jackie Kennedy design inside the White House. So, oh, by the way, Jackie Kennedy got married here in Newport. That was on my list to go to, the church. Didn't have time for it, so next time. So anyway, I think she died in like 1976, so I'm really, really curious about her life. Okay, we're on to this stack, so we're almost done. We stopped at Princeton and Yale Universities on our way up here from North Carolina. If you watch my family channel, you also know that I love going to college campuses. The older the architecture, the older the campus, the more I love it. So at Yale, this was Yale. Princeton was first. So at Yale, I went into their bookstore, the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore, and they actually, this is just really cool. Just a binder they had on clearance for $3.49. So I just wanted to grab it, thought it was beautiful, and I actually need a binder. While at Princeton, I picked up from their college campus, Princeton America's campus. I was really expecting this book to be really expensive. I mean, it's like textbook worthy. It was only $22.95, and oh my gosh. So I flipped through it. They had one open, so I made sure to grab it. I'm not gonna open this one just because, you know, traveling home, I don't want to mess up any of the pages. I can't believe this was only $22.95. And I plan when we come back, we may go back to Princeton, and I'll do a more in-depth history vlog. And also, okay, real quick, found the Rhode Island monthly magazine, the true crime issue. Not that I'm really crazy into true crime, but I wanted to, you know, most states have their own like magazine for that state. Like North Carolina has Our State, and it is amazing. It has history, it has local places, it has oddities. I mean, it's thicker than this magazine. And I don't think I will. This one wasn't quite, there was a lot more advertisements in it than Our State. So I'm not sure I will subscribe to it, but if your state has a really cool, interesting monthly publication, let me know down in the comments, because I may subscribe to it. There's one in Texas that I'm thinking about subscribing to. It might be called Texas Monthly. And I've kind of looked at that online. I thought, okay, this one could be it. So I don't know. We'll see, maybe. I had to go to CVS to get that magazine. I went to a grocery store, they didn't have it. So I was just glad to finally have it. Like, okay. Also got this at, was this Princeton or Yale? I'm not sure. One of the two colleges. I think this one was Yale. Rediscover Hidden, New Jersey. So this was at Princeton. Because Princeton is in New Jersey. Yale is in Connecticut. Oh, no. Thank goodness for bookmarks. So while we were in New Jersey, I stopped at a Labyrinth Books and independent bookstore. I always try to support independent bookstores, and found Rediscover Hidden New Jersey. So again, we have one of those books that just tells you oddities, history, interesting things that happened in the state, interesting places. I'm all about these. Now this was pricey, $28.95 for this. That was pricey. Okay, so this one was at Yale. Oh, here's my thing. Yep. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Yale University. Look at how many things I got. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this was 50% off, obviously. Eleanor in the Village, Eleanor Roosevelt's Search for Freedom and Identity in New York's Greenwich Village. I love to read about Eleanor. Perhaps the most mysterious period of her life began with her decision in 1920 to step away from her duties as the mother of 5 young children. All right, so is this one gonna tell me? Oh, that's where that bookmark was. Okay, so I just filmed my March Book of the Month subscription box because I brought the book with me, read it while I was here, and I just did the review of it. And in it, I'm like, I know I got a cool bookmark saying that I was something, and I couldn't remember what it was. I was a friend now because this was my 3rd box. I subscribed in January. So we're happy to call you a friend. Anyway, obviously I've already started this book. Started it when I finished the Book of the Month Club. That's why I took the bookmark. So I'm already on page, whoa, what am I seeing about North Carolina? Next, he served as master aboard the battleship North Carolina. Oh my God. Okay. I'm only on page 20, but hey, I started. Rogues and Heroes of Newport's Gilded Age. Again, Gilded Age. No, I do not get HBO. Isn't it HBO that has the Gilded Age series on it? I think it's HBO. But either way, I don't get it. I have seen like the first 4 episodes, I think. I can't remember how I saw that, but I did see like the first 4. Interesting tidbit. Again, you got to subscribe to Life's a Whirlwind. While we were at the Marble House, and the Elms, part of season 3 was filmed there. I got some info from one of the hosts that works there, one of the docents that works there, and I showcased some of those rooms. So you want to subscribe so you can see that. Newport, Rhode Island was the summer playground of the Gilded Age for the Astors, the Belmonts, and the Vanderbilts. Okay, so a little tidbit. Belmonts were actually like before the Astors. But anyway, they built lavish villas designed by the best architects of the time, included Richard Morris Hunt, Charles McKim, and Robert Swain Peabody. America's elite delighted to refer to these grand retreats as summer cottages because they weren't here long, where they would play tennis and polo and sail their yachts along the shores of the ocean state. So, again, I love that these books, these History Press books, because of all their pictures, I love to see what things were like and how they've changed. This was one of the first purchases. Found this at the Breakers. Was like, oh gosh, yes. So this was $22.95. Discover Newport's Island Cemetery. Notable people and monuments from the Gilded Age to modern times. So I did start to read it. I got to page 45. I wanted to read more before our cemetery tour. So we took a cemetery tour yesterday at Island Cemetery. And, oh my gosh. I just realized what's on the cover of this. Okay. Okay. So anyway, I was sitting there talking about the Belmonts were like a big deal here before the Astors. So this is actually one of the Belmont monuments there. This was designed by Richard Morris Hunt. Now this is a false sarcophagus. Actually, he's buried up underneath it. The most interesting thing I learned from that tour, I don't know if it's in this book. Oh my gosh, it probably is in this book. Oh, I'm squirreling. I was so mad at myself the guy who gave this tour was the guy who wrote this book. We didn't find that out until the end of the tour, and I'm like, if I would have known that, I would have brought this book for him to sign. I was so mad. But anyway, one of the things I learned from him is that the female statues here, they were actually carved by Carl Bitter. As soon as he said that, I'm like, Carl Bitter? And you know, all these other people there weren't a lot. I think there was like 7 of us. I'm like, he did a lot of the carvings at the Biltmore house. And everybody just kind of turned to me and he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. Carl Bitter and Richard Morris Hunt, like, they worked together, not just at Biltmore House. Like, really? So this is exciting. It is so exciting to know that Carl Bitter carved those. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, I wish I would have had time to read all of this before I did my vlog today, my cemetery vlog, but obviously I didn't have time. Oh, wish I would have known. I would have had him sign it. Oh, so this I actually bought on our trip up here. Yale. This was definitely Yale. And I'm like, okay, this looks up my alley. An ultimate road tripper's guide to New England. Obviously, I love books that have like the watercolor look to it. I'm like, yeah, as much as we travel, do these road trips, I'm like, I have to have this book. So I've read all of the Rhode Island section because I skipped to that first, obviously, and later I'll go back to the others. The last one, not a history book. Found this at Yale. Ooh, my stickers in it. Okay, this is cool. So Princeton and Yale both had stickers like this, and I bought one for each one. So Miss Julia Rises the Roof. So Miss Julia is actually a Hendersonville, North Carolina author. I've actually met her. She writes the Miss Julia series of books. I had not read this one. Let's see, this one. Oh my God, look at all. I think I've only read the first 4. I actually did not know that she had written this many. You've got to be kidding me. No. Oh no, I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've read 6. Miss Julia speaks her mind. Miss Julia takes over. Miss Julia throws a wedding. Miss Julia hits the road. Miss Julia meets her match. And nope, I did not read School of Beauty. So I only read the first 5. Wow. Oh my gosh. So what I love about this book, this series, I'm just going to tell you if you haven't like read the first one. Older lady, retired. Her husband passes away. Sometime after her husband passes away, this girl shows up at her doorstep. A lot younger girl with a little boy. By the way, her husband's name was Lloyd. So this girl, Hazel Marie, if I remember correctly, comes up. Her son, called Little Lloyd, she finds out her husband had an affair with this younger woman and produced a child. Miss Julia actually ends up taking them in. Right. But Amby Ross's writing is so Southern. Like, Southern, religious. I mean, she has it nailed. Such interesting, light reading, funny. Oh my gosh, this, and I can't read I need to read the others first. I gotta do that. And it's been years, so many years since I started reading these books. So have you heard of these books? I highly recommend them. Let me know if you have read any of these. Okay, did I count all these? I gotta count all these. 19 books. And I'm thinking that's gonna be all because like I said, we're on our way home tomorrow. We start back. I can't admit, unless we find an independent bookstore that we have time to stop at, we'll see what happens. 19 books. hardly bought anything else. There's a few other things I bought. You know what? Let's go find out what Mr. Mouse Diva's guess is on how many books I have bought and what his reaction is. Let's go. So he is in here watching the Duke game. That's why I got to vlog. So who's winning? Duke? Who are they playing?
Baylor, and they're only up by like 15 or 17.
So I have just went through the books that I bought on this trip and I counted them. I hope I got them all. I think I got them all. How many books do you think I bought?
15.
You were very close. 19.
My original guess was going to be 18, but I thought that was ludicrous that you would buy that many, so I went down to 15.
So 19. So you know what that means, right?
That you've got something to read for the next 2 weeks?
I need to buy one more book.
Why?
Because 20. 20 sounds like a lot more than 19. So I should buy 20. So that means on our way home, maybe we'll come across an independent bookstore.
We need to get home in 2 days.
Told everybody, I said, thank God we didn't fly. The weight of all those books.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I've been all around the